Morning, guys. Hiya, Kunus. Morning, guys. Can you hear me? Hello. Hello. Ryan. Ryan. Hello, guys. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, Mister.
Okay.
Yes.
Jenna. You, Jenna. Tadros. Yassine. Yusuf Awad. Tadros. Yassine. Yusuf Awad. Okay, so I have roughly 13 students in the room right now. In addition to me and Islamia, we have Baghdadi, Martina, Abdurrahman Baghdadi, and Martina. Okay, Hassan Ruhaim. Sorry, I'm just admitting the people who want to join. Hassan Ruhaim. And okay, that's it. So there are 16 students in the room. I'd like to tell you again that your mics should be active. If your mic is not active, this means you're absent. Please solve the mic problem. Every day, the same people have the same problem with their mics. They do not participate in the session. They do not participate in the discussion. Okay, so they are considered absent and they will get 0 for participation because they never participate. They never answer a question. Here, Kiara joins. Kiara. Okay. Osama Darwish. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So give me a second to share the screen. Okay. Can you see the screen now, Jana?
Yes, Mister.
Okay, we did this page in the first session and we stopped here, right? Okay, so let me ask you a question to begin with. The title of this part is The Struggler Continued. Who is the struggler? Who can tell me quickly? Put your hands up if you know the answer, please. And please be more active. Please be more active. I have 2 raised hands only out of 21. Guys, be more active and take part in this session. Who is the struggler? Still 2 only? Hello? Hello, class. Who is the struggler? I have Kiara's hand raised, Jana Walid's, Yassine's, the same people all the time, the same active people all the time. Who else? Who is the struggler? طيب, Ganna Gouda, can you hear me? Ganna Gouda? Ganna Gouda? Ganna Tamer? Ganna, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Who is the struggler, Ganna? Give me a second to admit.
Max.
Hala. Okay.
Yes, Mister. I can hear you.
Yes, me. I'll just admit these people. Alia. Alia. Hala. Yasmin. Okay. So the struggler is Max. Max, guys, was carrying a book all the time. What the title of the book? What is the title of the book Max is carrying all the time? 2 raised hands. I think the same person. The same person. Jana Walid. Who else? Osama Darwish. Okay, Osama, go ahead.
Mr. It was Mein Kampf.
Yes, Mein Kampf. Thank you.
Mein Kampf.
Okay. How do you say it in English? Mein Kampf. Abdurrahman Walid. Abdurrahman Walid, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so the book Max Vandenberg, the Jewish young man, was carrying was entitled Mein Kampf in German. How would you translate it in English?
My
Hmm.
Mister, I remember.
Okay, take your time.
My struggle, I think.
My struggle, thank you. Type. Another question. Why do you think that? Why do you think the young man was carrying this very book, this specific book, all the time? Why was Max Vandenberg?
To stay safe, yeah.
Huh? Excuse.
Not to think that he's a Jew.
Mm. Okay, to make people think that he was loyal to Hitler, right?
Yes.
Or he wasn't a Jew because Jews didn't read Mein Kampf or didn't like Hitler at that time because he was arresting them all the time and sending them to concentration camps, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Walid. Okay, let's go back to the next page. Can you start reading, Walid? Walid, Abdurrahman.
Mister, I don't have the store.
Ma,
I don't have it.
you have the screen. Read the page in front of you. Can't you see the screen?
Yeah, more, but
Guys, Jana Garaihi, can you see the screen?
Yes, Mister.
Okay. So, Abdurrahman, what's the problem? Mm. Can you read, Abdurrahman?
Mister, the screen is too
Okay. So
it's small for me.
you have a problem. It's okay here. If I try to maximize it a little bit, it will be a problem. Can you see it now? Okay, I want someone to read, guys. Yahya Awad joined us. Yahya Awad. Hmm. I want someone to read. Osama. Osama, go ahead.
ماشي. When he left it, the storeroom was empty, but for the floor,
Read,
goodbye, he whispered.
read from here, Osama.
I read from. لا. ماشي. Okay, sorry. He sat for the half an hour before stepping toward the bag and opening it. Apart from food, a few other items sat inside. The extra contents of Walker's Kugler's gift. One small razor, a spoon, the closest thing to a mirror, shaving cream, a pair of scissors.
Thank you very much. Okay, go
Uh,
ahead.
when he left it, the storeroom was empty, but for the floor, goodbye, he whispered. The last thing Max saw was the small mound of hair sitting casually against the wall. Goodbye, with a clean-shaven face, lopsided yet
Sided.
neatly combed hair. He had walked out of the building, a new man. In fact, he walked out Germany. Hang on a second. He was German, or more to the point, he had been. In his stomach was the electric combination of nourishment and
Nausea.
nausea.
Mm,
Nausea.
mm.
He walked to the station. He showed his ticket and identity card, and now he sat in the small box compartment of the train, directly in danger's spotlight. Papers. That was what he dreaded to hear. It was bad enough when he was stopped on the platform. He knew he could not withstand it twice. The shivering hands, the smell, no, the stench of guilt. He simply couldn't bear it again. Unfortunately, they came through early and only asked for the ticket, and now all that was left was a window of small towns, congregation,
Congregation. Congregations of light.
congregation of lights, and the woman snoring on the other side of the compartment. For most of the journey, he made his way through the book, trying never to look up. The words lulled about his mouth, and as he read them, strangely, as he turned the pages and progressed through the chapters, it was only two words he ever tasted.
Okay, thank you, Osama. So I have a couple of questions here. Uh, you know, the man stayed in a dark room for weeks. Okay, guys. So Kugler, his friend, provided him with these items in addition to the items in the book. Can you remind me of the items in the book again? Who can remind me of the hidden items in the book or the item kept in the book? Hmm? Max had Mein Kampf with him all the time. In the book, there were three items we talked about in the first session. Hmm. Who can remind me of these items? Kunuz? Kunuz, if you can hear me. Kunuz. Hello? Kunuz. I have one raised hand. Ryan's hand. Huh? Who else knows the answer, guys? Again, the question again. What were the items hidden in the book? I asked this question at the end of the last session, and Ryan answered it. Hmm? Ryan and Jenna, the same people all the time. What about the other 19 students? Kiara, thank you. Welcome aboard. Huh? Who else? I want you all to raise your hands, please. We answered this question about 20 minutes ago. Who else? Okay, Kiara, go ahead.
Ticket.
The ticket, the train ticket.
Food.
Food in the book.
No.
There was some food in the bag. I'm talking about the book now.
Bag.
Okay.
Okay.
A ticket, what else?
Map.
A map, good.
And
A
I don't
key,
remember.
a key
A key.
stuck to the
A key.
inside cover. A key stuck with maybe sellotape and is stuck to the inside cover of the book. The key to which place? To Hans's house. Okay, the key to Hans Huberman's house, right? Okay. In the bag, there were some food, some razors, and a spoon. Who can tell me? He said the spoon was the nearest thing to a mirror because once he stayed in this dark place for weeks, this means his beard and his facial hair grew longer, right? So he needed to shave or get shaved. So he gave him a razor. You know what a razor is? Something we use to shave or get shaved, and a spoon because he needed a mirror. Instead of the mirror, he looked in the spoon to see his face. Can you imagine it? And shaved his beard and his mustache, and he looked German. And the writer says here he looked German, and don't forget that he was German. But he did this to look like the Aryans or the people Hitler thought were superior to any other race in the world. Okay, who can read the following page? I want somebody to read. So the man is sitting in the train compartment now on his own, reading the books. Okay, and after reading so many chapters, the two words that he liked were two words only. The two words were Mein Kampf, Mein Kampf, my struggle. Okay, it's not Hitler's struggle, it's his own struggle. The title over and over again, as the train prattled on, went on from one German town to next, Mein Kampf. These are the two words he liked again of all the things to save him. And this book, remember that the book was his savior. Let's move to the Tricksters. I need somebody to read. I need somebody to read. No raised hands. طيب مريم النقيب, Martina, Tadros, try to solve the problem with your mics quickly, please. Try to find another device. In any home, we have more than one device. Please find a good device with a good mic and use them, please. I want you to read Yusuf Awad. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see the screen well?
No.
Okay.
You could agree. You could argue that Liesel Meminger had it easy. She did have it easy compared to Max Vandenberg. Certainly, her brother practically died in her arms. Her mother abandoned her, but anything was better than being a Jew. In the time leading up to Max's arrival, another washing customer was lost. This time, the Weingartners. The obligatory skin-free occurred in the kitchen. Liesel composed herself with the fact that there were still two left, and even better, one of them was the mayor, the wife, the box. As for Liesel's other activities, she was still causing havoc with Rudi Steiner. I would even suggest that they were polishing their wicked ways. They made a few more journeys with Arthur Berg and his friends, keen to prove their worth and extend their thieving repertoire. They took potatoes from one farm, onions from another. Their biggest victory, however, they performed alone. As witnessed earlier, one of the benefits of walking through town was the prospect of finding things on the ground. Another was noticing people, or more important, the same people are doing identical things week after week.
Okay, thank you, Yusuf. I'd like to ask a question here. If we compare, Liesel led a hard life and Max led a hard life. Comparing Liesel's life or Liesel's, let's say, suffering to Max's suffering, which is harder, guys, in your opinion? Or according to the narrator's opinion here, which is harder, Liesel's suffering or Max's suffering? Whose suffering was harder, in the opinion of the narrator, Liesel's or Max's? Hala Sharif?
I think they are both hard, but Max was harder because he felt the guilt that he was responsible for his mother's death, and he didn't find a proper place to stay in.
Thank you very much. Another opinion. Thank you, Hala. Another opinion, guys. I'll go to Miss Layan. Layan? Layan, can you hear me? Layan Matar? Layan, are you there? Looks like she's not with us in the room, but her name is with us. Okay, Jana Walid wants to enter the room. So I need another person to answer this question. Comparing Liesel's suffering to Max's suffering, which is tougher, which is harder, and why? Hala said Liesel, they were equal in her opinion because the girl lost her brother and her mother, but the boy left his family behind and he's a Jew. Who else wants to answer? Does anyone want to answer the question? Hello. According, I ask about the narrator's opinion. Whose suffering was easier? Liesel's or Max's? Hello. Hello. Okay. If we read the first line of this page, which Yusuf Awad read, you could argue that Liesel Meminger had it easy. So Liesel's suffering was easier. Why? She did have it easy compared to Max Vandenberg. Certainly, her brother practically died in her arms on the train. Her mother abandoned her, but anything was better than being a Jew. The man or the gentleman was a Jew. The girl wasn't a Jew. Her parents were communists. This was her problem. So her suffering compared to his was much easier according to the narrator's opinion. Okay. I need another person to read. Yusuf stopped here week after week. Hello. I need another person to read. Who's ready? Who's ready? Guys, is it the city of the dead? Guys, are you there in the room? Grade 11. Can you answer me, please? Can you hear me all? Nobody answers. Guys? Hello? Kiara, can you hear me?
Yes, mister.
So what's the problem with the others? Hassan Rohaim. Hassan? Rohaim,
Yes, mister.
can you read? Why don't you answer, حبايبي? Can you read?
Yes.
Can you see the screen well?
Yes.
Okay.
A boy, a
Yes.
boy from school, Otto Sturm, was one such person. Every Friday afternoon, he rode his bike to church carrying goods to the priests. For a month, they watched him as good weather turned to bad, and Rudy in particular was determined that one Friday, an abnormally frost week in October, Otto would quit make it.
Why?
All those priests, Rudy explained as they walked through town, they are all too fat anyway. They could do without a feast for a week or so. Leslie could only agree. First of all, she wasn't Catholic. Second, she was pretty hungry herself. As always, she was carrying the washing. Rudy was carrying 2 buckets of cold water, as he put it, 2 buckets of future ice. Just before 2 o'clock, he went to work. Without any hesitation, he poured the water onto the road in the exact position where Otto would pedal around the corner. Liesel had to admit it. There was a small portion of guilt at first, but the plan was perfect, or at least as close to perfect as it could be. Just after 2 o'clock every Friday, Otto Stern turned into Munich Street with the produce in his front basket at the handlebars. On this particular Friday, that was as far as he could travel.
Okay, thank you, Hassan. I
Welcome,
have
sir.
a couple of questions here. So, a boy called Otto Sturm in German, when we have the S followed by the T or the P, the S is pronounced as we said earlier. Otto Sturm was one such person, a boy their age. Every Friday afternoon, he rode his bike to church. Okay, why? Carrying goods to the priests. Goods or produce. Produce means vegetables and uh, uh, fruits. Okay, for a month they watched him. The question is, who are they? People who are following up. Who are they? For a month they watched him. Who are they? Hmm. Who are they? Janna Guda? Janna? Janna? Janna is not here. Kanuz? Kunuz? Hayat? Hello? Abdurrahman? Bughdadi?
Yes, Mr.
Who are they? For a month, they watched him.
Lizer and Rudy.
Liesel and Rudy. Thank you. Okay. For a month, they watched him as good weather turned to bad. and Rudy in particular was determined that one Friday in an abnormally frosty week in October, Otto wouldn't quite make it. He wouldn't make it to the church. He wouldn't arrive at the church. Why? Because Rudy would do something to stop him from going and take the food with him. Because, as we said earlier, Rudy was hungry all the time. The boy was weak and he had many siblings, many brothers and sisters, and the food didn't or wasn't enough for them all. All those priests, he says, Rudy explained, as they walked through town, they're all too fat anyway. All the priests in the church are too fat. And when we use the word too, as you know, this means more than enough. They eat a lot the time we are hungry. Okay? They could do without a feed for a week or so. They could wait, okay, without food for a week or so because they are too fat, according to him. Liesel could only agree. The girl agreed with him. And I have a question here about this paragraph. Please read this paragraph, guys. Please all read this paragraph. Do I have a question after you read it? My question is, Liesel agreed with Rudy concerning his opinion about the priests. The question is why? The answer is very clear in front of you in the paragraph. Why did Liesel agree with Rudy's opinion about the priests? I'll Marim Naqib, Osama Darwish, Tadrus, again, solve the problem with your mics, please. Yahya Awad. Morning, Yahya. Yahya, are you there? Yahya Awad. Okay. Let's see. Ganna Tamer, can you hear me? Ganna? Ganna Tamer? Okay. Hi Al Masri, can you hear me? Hiya. I'll go to Alia Walid. Alia. Alia. Guys, you enter the room by name only and go to sleep or go somewhere else, please. You lose many marks for this. Okay? If your name is in the room and you don't answer me, you're absent. This means no marks for attendance, no marks for participation. I say this again and again. Hello, Alia. Ali Gizi. Ali?
Yes, yes.
Did you hear my question?
Can you repeat it?
Can you see the highlighted paragraph here in front of you?
Yes.
The question is, why did Liesel agree with Rudy's opinion about the priests? Ali, honestly, were you following up? Just to save time?
She wasn't Catholic,
She was a Catholic. What does this mean?
She wasn't.
She wasn't Catholic. What does this mean?
And she was hungry and saw that the people Rudy was talking about were fat.
I can't hear you, Ali. Can you raise your voice?
He said about the priests that they're fat, and she was hungry, so she agreed.
Okay, she was hungry. This is second here. According to the narrator, she was pretty hungry herself. She agreed that they were too fat. They ate more than enough. And the first thing is that she was not Catholic. She wasn't Catholic herself. She wasn't the same, let's say, creed or doctrine of those priests. to respect them or to sympathize with them. Okay, again, the girl agreed with the boy because she wasn't religious, she wasn't Catholic, and she was very, very, very hungry all the time. She ate pea soup all the time, as we said earlier. As always, she was carrying the washing. She was always working. This is why she's hungry. Rodi was carrying 2 buckets of cold water, as he put it, 2 buckets of future ice, because the weather at that time was very cold and water would turn into ice quickly. Just before 2 o'clock, he went to work. Without any hesitation, he poured the water onto the road, the 2 buckets. This was his plan. Uh, Otto Strom passes by this place every Friday. I'll pour 2 buckets of water on the ground, and they will turn into ice because of the cold weather. And the boy will slide with his bike and fall down, and we can take the food from him. He poured the water onto the road in the exact position where Otto would pedal around the corner. Liesel had to admit it. She accepted this plan. There was a small portion of guilt at first. They felt some guilt at first, but the plan was perfect, or at least as close to perfect as it could be. At just after 2 o'clock, the time the boy passes by this place every Friday afternoon, Otto Sturm turned onto Munich Street with the produce, with the food and vegetable in his front basket at the handlebars, the handlebars of the bicycle. On this particular Friday, that was as far as he would travel. Let's move on to the next page. We have about 7 minutes before the end of this video. The road was icy as it was, but Rudy put on the extra coat, barely able to contain a grin. It ran across his face like a skid. So he put on the extra coat. The question is, why, guys? Why do you think Rudy put on an extra coat or the extra coat? Why did Rudy put on the extra coat? If you know the answer, put your hand up, please. We don't want to lose more time. Hello, Rudy put on the extra coat after or when he was trying to make the boy fall down. Why did Rudy wear or put on the extra coat? Is Yasin here? Yasin Said. Yasin.
Yes.
Are you following up?
Yes.
Can you answer my question?
Why did Rudy put a coat?
Yeah, put on an extra coat that Friday afternoon.
Because it
Why?
was cold.
Yeah, it was cold,
ice.
but he was wearing a coat, already wearing a coat. He put on an extra
To
one.
hide his face.
To hide his face,
hide his
maybe.
face.
Another answer, please. Another answer. Who knows the answer? Oh, Jana Garaiha, are you there? Jana's not here. Lolwa, are you there now? Lolwa.
Yes, I'm here with you.
Okay. Are you following up, dear?
Yes.
Okay, so why did Rudy put on an extra coat that Friday afternoon? An answer?
Mister, I actually don't know the answer. Not waste time.
Okay. Who does? Who knows the answer, guys? Nobody knows? Okay. The boy was trying to steal the food from Otto Sturm. This is why he put on the extra coat, okay? To put the food in the pockets of his coat, as they did yesterday when they went to the farm to steal onions, potatoes, and apples, right? Uh, Come on, he said, that bush there. And they hid behind a bush. A bush is a small tree in the street. After approximately, 15 minutes, he diabolical plan bore its fruit. The plan was successful, so to speak. Rudy pointed his finger into a gap in the bush. There he is. Otto was coming on his bike. Otto came around the corner, dopey as a lamb. He wasted no time in losing control of the bike, sliding across the ice and lying face down on the road. The boy fell to the ground according to Rudy and Liesel's plan. When he didn't move, Rudy looked at Liesel with alarm. Crucified Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ, he said. I think we might have killed him. When the boy fell on the ground, he didn't move at the beginning. Rudy and Liesel were afraid that maybe they have killed him. He crept slowly out, removed the basket, and they made their getaway. Okay, they escaped. Was he breathing? Liesel asked. Farther down the street, keine Ahnung, or no idea. Okay, clinging to the basket, he had no idea. From far down the hill, they watched as Otto stood up, scratched his head, scratched his crotch, and looked everywhere for the basket. The basket is gone. Stupid Scheißkopf. Rudy grinned, and like idiot or something like that. And they looked through the spoils. The spoils, the spoils, you play PUBG, or professors at this. The loot, the thing you steal from someone or something. Bread. In this basket, there was bread, broken eggs, and the big one, Spick. Rudy held the fatty ham to his nose and breathed it gloriously in. Beautiful. Spick is a piece of meat, okay? As tempting as it was to keep the victory to themselves, they felt victorious. They had the sense of victory. They thought that they did something successful. They were very proud. They were overpowered by a sense of loyalty to Arthur Berg. I don't want to ask you who Arthur Berg is. They made their way to his impoverished lodging on Kempf Strasse. This is the name of a street in German, and showed him the produce. Arthur couldn't hold back his approval. They took these spoils and went to Arthur, their leader, the gang leader, to show him their spoils. Why did you steal this? Who did you steal this from? It was Rudy who answered. Otto Sturm. We stole this from Otto Sturm. Well, he nodded. He liked what they did. Whoever that is, ungrateful to him, he walked inside and returned with a bread knife, a frying pan, and a jacket. And the three thieves walked the hallway of apartments. Will get the other members of the gang. Arthur Berg stated as they made it outside, we might be criminals, but we're not totally immoral. Yeah, there are three of us now, but we can't eat this food ourselves. We need to call the others to share it with us. Yes, we are criminals, we are thieves, but we are moral. We are not immoral. Okay, much like the book thief, he at least drew the line somewhere. Okay, a few more doors were knocked on, the doors of the other members of the gang. Names were called out to apartments from streets below, and soon the whole conglomerate the whole group of Arthur Berg's fruit-stealing troop was on its way to the Amber. The Amber is the river. All of them, there were I think 6 of them, went to the river. In the clearing on the other side, there was an empty area. A fire was lit, and what was left of the eggs was salvaged and fried. The eggs were broken because the boy fell on the ground. The bread and speck were cut